Hey, what's up, boys? Another video, another practice match. Just hitting with a buddy of mine. I've come to the conclusion these days, well, the past few years, that I need to really work on my leg development, my leg power, my leg endurance, my leg everything. I've hit. I'm not arguably, but I'm definitely the heaviest consistently I've ever been. And not that I'm fat. I've definitely put on a few pounds, but I'm also more muscular these days. Just because I have Crohn's disease, but luckily within the past, it's been about 5 years now, I've been able to get it into remission in my own way. Luckily, it doesn't have anything to do with sketchy medication that the doctor wants to give me. It's, I guess you can say, an all-natural approach, but it's not like a woo-woo-y kind of all-natural. It's just something that my body was really needing in order to for my digestive system to work like a normal human beings. But now, within the past few years, I've been able to get it into remission. And one of the good side effects of that has been being able to retain weight easier through just being able to have more calorie consumption. Back when I was having really bad flare-ups with my Crohn's disease, that really drove me to not being able to eat as much as I wanted to, or eat the kinds of food that I wanted to. And now I'm at a point where I can eat just about anything I want with no digestive problems, which is what I had before. That was, honestly, if you know anybody with Crohn's disease, or if you have Crohn's disease, I mean, it's a nightmare of a damn disease. But anyways, yeah, it really wreaks havoc on you, and one of the biggest problems is not being able to just hold weight. And not to say that I was never really not a bigger guy, but if you, in comparison to what I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I'm like 215 now, give or take. And that's not even trying to bulk or anything. That's just my normal everyday fluctuating weight. And let's face it, that's 15 to 20 pounds way too much for a tennis player. A tennis player that is looking to perform on a daily basis multiple times, such as going and playing a tournament. I'm far and I'm not even trying to these days. It's just for fun, and I just like filming for fun. I'm not trying to win any tournaments, except for lefty. I think lefty, training my lefty side and winning a tournament as a lefty would be fun, would be a fun thing to do, and I'm going to do that. But as far as trying to be competitive, I'm not. I just want to film good tennis matches, good places that I've maybe traveled to play tennis, and interesting people that I meet. But back to the weight thing, yeah, I'm heavy, and it not only shows on court, but it 100% feels like it on court. I'm not as nimble. I'm not as quick out of the gate, and I get tired easily. I was playing this day, and I was able to do good when I got myself really fired up. And that's normally how I play tennis, is I'm pretty relaxed until I get broken and the chips are looking down. I tend to fire myself up. And That's a normal thing for me. And I can do that for a long time. Like when I get fired up, I can keep that level high for a long time, but not really anymore. Like I got fired up and it lasted a set, like 2/3 of a set. But as soon as that second set came around, it was just like, you know, an adrenaline dump, and you realize you're like, oh man, those chemicals in my brain flowing through my body are not there anymore, and they've kind of left, and you're kind of left a husk of a person when you step on the court for the second set, and you already know like what's going to happen. You know that you just don't have the energy to win this set against your opponent. And that's a really tough situation to be in as a player, because there's really nothing you can do. I mean, if your forehand isn't working, or your backhand, or whatever it might be, you have time to iron that stuff out. Even footwork is not happening. Like, you have time in a set to iron that stuff out, but once you feel that depletion of energy in your body, it's kind of just like a self-fulfilling prophecy where it just gets worse from there. Like, and there's no real way of gaining energy on court. I mean, you can maybe eat something, or I guess hammer an energy drink, but at the end of the day, it doesn't feel like real energy almost. Like, I don't know. To me, it just seems like once that gas tank feels like it's getting low, there's no coming back from that. So you have to almost just like say to yourself, like, am I just going to run through the motions on this set, know that I'm going to lose, save energy for the third set, and just hope that like your opponent kind of starts running low too. But back to my situation where I feel like I'm heavy, I think it's got to be a two-pronged solution, where one, obviously, cut some of the poundage, and you know, but on the other hand, adapt my legs to the new kind of weight class that I'm in. I think it's gonna be hard, like really hard, to get my base weight down sub 200. I just feel like I don't have that want to do that, because it's going to be mostly I'm going to have to cut into my muscle mass too, and you know, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to, if I'm not going to be playing high level tournaments against high level players back to back. I don't see a huge need to do that. I would prefer trying to get my legs adapted to the new weight, the new average weight that I'm going to have, and see how much that helps me. I know, like, typically once tennis players hit that like 200 poundish, like John Isner, it's diminishing returns after that. So I would assume that I need to get closer to 200, but I would first like to adapt my legs to this new weight. Like I said before, I'm kind of like a broken record at the moment. Oh, and I also forgot, I'm a little too hard on myself too sometimes. I'm still coming back from a left knee injury. And that's kind of the reason why I stopped YouTube tennis videos for a while, is because I thought that this was going to be an injury that was just going to be with me for the rest of my life, and it's going to be nagging, and I'm never going to be able to play high level tennis again. Got it looked at by an orthopedic surgeon, not a surgeon, but a guy that looks at knees, and they took an X-ray or whatever scan. I forget the scan they did. It's kind of late right now, And they saw there was nothing wrong with it. They wanted to go in there and scope it, but I told the guy, like, scope what? You said there's nothing wrong with it. No, I'm not going under the knife. If you can't even tell me what we're going to be scoping. So I told myself, all right, if there's nothing wrong, if they can't see anything wrong, then it's got to be something that I can fix. I'm fairly certain it's because my left knee is very tight after the injury, and the tendons are pulling at the insertion points, causing the pain. So one of the bigger things that I've been doing lately is really working on my quad, stretching my quad, making sure that I can stretch at the most it can. I think that's kind of really where the pain is coming from. When I stretch and warm up my left knee before I do any kind of activities, I don't have much of a problem with it. It mitigates the pain, and I'm just going along the way of the more I can lengthen that quad, because that quad tendon passes the knee joint, and I'm fairly certain that that's the tendon that's hurting when I bend down. Also, the hamstring tendon that inserts past the knee too. I'm stretching. I think both of them were injured, and it really does help lengthening that quad, and also doing a lot of leg work, a lot of knee hinging leg work, like if you were on the quad what is it, the quad machine, you know, at the gym, leg extension, that machine, and really just working on that tendon. It's getting better now. It still bothers me in matches on serves, and sometimes some points where I have to get down low. It's not even the pain, really, it's the sensation of possibly having that pain is what really kind of is still in the back of my head. So I just need to work on getting rid of that, so I can play matches a little bit freer. I think that's what's really holding me back as well, along with the weight. But I think they both share the blame of why I feel like my game has dipped. But luckily it's two things that are within my control to be able to fix. It's not any kind of life-altering injuries. It's nothing that outside of my control. Again, I'm sounding like a broken record. So you'll see me at the end of this video. I'm gonna start throwing in gym clips of me lifting, just because I feel like it goes hand in hand with tennis. I think it would be nice to be able to see some of the things I do, not only just for tennis, but I like bodybuilding as well. So I throw a lot of bodybuilding exercises in. But you'll see at the end, I go into the stretch that I do for my quad, and it's interesting because I always thought that just kicking your leg back and holding your ankle and stretching your quad right there was like the ultimate way of lengthening your quad, but it's not. I've learned that there's way more real estate in stretching your quad, because you also need to be able to kind of push your hip out as well. So it's easier to explain when the video gets to the point where I'm doing it. You'll see what I mean by it. But it goes kind of into my philosophy now of where if you have some kind of joint pain or some kind of pain in your body to where it's almost like there's nothing wrong with that area, but you're feeling pain when you're doing something, more than likely it's a muscle that's just been neglected with stretching. It's probably a muscle and a tendon that was injured somehow or way, and in order for it to have fully recovered, it needed to be stretched and lengthened for a certain amount of time in order for it to not be what I would call like pinching pain, kind of like the tendon pulling on the insertion point, if that makes any sense. I'm not in any kind of medical field, so what I could be saying could sound just really stupid, but it's just the way I've been thinking lately, and I've really wanted to get my stretching on a really like professional level, where like my body is as healthy as it can be in terms of the muscles being stretched. Because if the muscle isn't stretched, then that muscle is going to lay dormant, and it's not going to get blood flow, and you're not going to get as much blood flow as you could be getting to that muscle area, and that muscle is not going to be able to do its job fully, because you can't even get into a full range of motion because your muscle is not lengthened enough. But with that being said, feel like the road to recovery with my knee is getting there. It's going to be 100% soon. As far as the legs, I got to start working on them. Again, the left leg took a bit of a hit because it has been hurting, and has been kind of hurting my leg progression when it comes to being in the gym. So it's definitely lagging behind. I'm slowly catching it up. And as far as the weight, just got to tighten up my nutrition. Got to not be as lazy with making sure I have my meals prepped. I've always been a big proponent of prepping meals and Sunday, Monday, and not going without your meal. Like there's no real excuse to not to miss a meal. And tennis players really do need to make sure that they're eating a lot, because if you're not eating a lot, you're not getting enough calories in. And one thing, you don't want to be overweight on court, like we're talking about me being overweight, but being underweight on court sucks too, because you just feel like you have no weight behind the ball, behind the shot. Every time you hit, you feel like you're really struggling to hit that ball. And bigger guys, they have an easier time of getting the weight behind the ball and just ripping it back with ease. When you're underweight, it really hampers you. So making sure you're not missing a meal during the day. I would see guys all the time, like in college. One person would say I can't believe he's so thin. He eats all the time. I see him, he'll have 2-3 plates at chow hall. But if you really looked at their diet, yeah, maybe dinner time rolls around and they eat 2 or 3 plates, but they skipped breakfast. Lunch was a very light lunch, if really anything. And there is no snacking at all in between meals or at night. And I'm not saying you should be snacking, but if you're trying to gain, put on some weight, you got to make sure that you're getting all the meals in during the day. Because if you're underweight, you're more than likely not. You think you might be eating, but if you put pen to paper, you'll realize that I could be doing more. On the other flip side, me, I have to tighten things up. I have to limit the snacking. I have to limit the amount of sauces and extra, crap that I put in my meals sometimes to just make it palatable. I kid you not, I'll have my rice, chicken breast, and broccoli. Not chicken breast, chicken thigh. Chicken thigh is the optimal chicken. I love it. I'll never go back to chicken breast, even though it is kind of better for you. But anyways, I'll throw a couple of handfuls of chips in there, because you know, some days I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know, I want this to taste. I want this to taste a little bit better today. But yeah, tightening up the snacking. That's probably my biggest thing is snacks, or getting the random sandwich at Wawa late at night because I can't sleep because I'm hungry. Just little things got to tighten up. But anyways, all right, the set's wrapping up now. Again, I'm gonna start throwing clips of the gym and lifting weights and training lefty stuff. So I'm gonna start throwing those in at the end of these videos. If you feel like sticking around and checking out some of the lifting content, appreciate it. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Later.
Hey.